Actually make this bigger. There we go.
Okay, so on this episode, I'm delighted to have Mr. Doja. In 2020, he dropped an impressive album, Oh My God, It's My Time. And I feel like this project is reminiscent of old school hip hop, mixed with some good lyricism and modern day production. So how you doing there, Mr. Doja?
I'm good, brother. And actually, the OMG stands for On My Grind.
On my grind. Sorry about that.
Yes,
I
that's cool.
misinterpreted that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty much it's like what it's supposed to do and the premise of people are supposed to get from it. That's why I use those acronyms, but they
mhm.
actually stood for the title track of the album, which is On My Grind. So
Yeah, I didn't want to say OMG. So on my grind. Thanks for the clarification on that.
yeah, no problem at
And
all.
yeah, so tell me about the early days of being influenced by hip hop and actually writing your first rhymes. If we could start there.
Well, my older brother, James, was a DJ for a local group in our area. I grew up in Linwood, which is right outside of Compton. So he was a DJ for a local group, and going from that experience and meeting all the different people in that circle and in the industry, he decided he wanted to be a rapper. So then he started rapping, and me being so involved in the music from him DJing and all the different sounds and things that I got introduced to, then I, put my hand in, and of course, my first rap was like the worst thing in the world. Just like when anything you start, like you ride a bike, you first get on a bike, you don't know how to ride it until you practice. So we went from there. Tribe Called Quest, Run DMC, Curtis Blow, Melly Mel, all those. KRS-One is my favorite hip hop artist. Slick Rick, NWA, of course. King T is one of my favorite West Coast artists. Him and Ice-T.
You're talking King T from the Alcoholics, right?
Yeah. So just a lot of influence. We had artists that a lot of people don't know about. Toddy T, the Egyptian Lover. It's a whole lot of cats from back then that were really instrumental in me wanting to be a rapper, me wanting to practice and get better so I can actually, one day, get on or whatever.
Yeah, and the Egyptian Lover is like one of the pioneers of electro, right?
Yeah.
He's really good, man. He's definitely a legend.
He kind of is the king of the West Coast sound, to be honest.
Really? Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
So, a lot of being around people who were up and coming rappers or trying to be rappers or whatever in the LA area. When the Lyricist Lounge popped off in LA, that was a go-to spot to see some big name artists, and never had the guts to get up there myself, but at the same time, just the experience and being involved in that environment was just amazing. I got a cousin in Atlanta, DJ Black Magic, when I lived in Georgia in '93. He used to DJ out there, and going to different spots with him was another thing that got the motor continue to run and whatnot. My brother did pass away in '94. He was murdered in '94. Yes. And that kind of at the time shut the door to me doing music, because I was doing it because of him and wanted to do it with him. We were supposed to actually sign a record deal that Monday, or talk to people about a record deal that Monday, and he passed away that Sunday. So it was just a series of events that stopped that from taking place. So I kind of gave up on music for a long time. Did keep writing. I just wasn't interested in recording or being an artist, but I still, wrote poetry, and I did write raps and stuff. Ended up meeting a producer from Canada. At the time, went by Moto Blizzard, his Moto House now. He's a techno DJ, house DJ, I should say. Met him, told him my story. He decided that he would, take me under his wing at the time or whatever. We started doing music together. That's one of the songs on the OMG album is Fast Lane. It was his idea for me to write that song, because We did the original Old Heads. Old Heads is on the album. It's a different version of the song. But after we did that song, he was like, you got all these raps that you putting down or whatever, but I haven't heard anything about your brother. I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, your brother's the reason why you do music, right? Like, yeah, you need to do a song dedicated to your brother. And that's where Fastlane came from.
Yeah, it's like a reflective track. Yeah, I
Exactly.
heard that on the album. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good track for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Definitely. So,
But
so at an early age, you were writing songs like in your little composition book. You were doing your poetry and all that
yeah,
at
yeah.
an early age. Yeah. Was there a crew? Or was just you and your brother? Or was there other people part of the crew?
My initial crew at the time was we had a posse in high school called the Dog Posse, DAWG, Dope Adolescents with Game was the name of our posse. It was me, my friend Marcus Law, we called him Cram, my cousin Eric, my friend Jeff. It was us four. Yeah, it was us four. So in the midst of me doing the part of the hip hop culture is of course dancing. So I was into, house dancing and just dance itself during that time as well. But I was pretty much really the only rapper in the crew.
Mm-hmm.
So, we kind of was just a clique. It wasn't really a progressive thing trying to do music. I had other friends that were in groups. Like my friend Ghetto Flame is from Linwood, and he has dropped several albums. He has a label right now called The Regiment. So he's still, since then up to now, still putting out content. So,
Cool.
but it's just like I wasn't in that comfortable in myself, or I should say motivated enough in myself to reach out to them and be like, hey, I rap too. So
those original elements of hip hop, the breakdancing, DJ and graffiti, you were definitely exposed to that back
yes,
then,
definitely.
and had an influence on you. That's one of the things that I, recognized when I moved to LA in 2005, because I'm from the DMV, Maryland, DC, Virginia area, but like you guys recognize all the elements heavy out here. Like I would go to shows and go to the beat swap meet. There'd be breakdancing, people still throwing up graffiti on the walls. Like really heavy with the Beat Junkies and Babu, Rhythmatic, all of them. They really still represent true hip hop hardcore. Out here in LA. Yeah.
That's the thing too. Also, I have a few videos up on YouTube, but Old Heads is the first video I did, and in that video, I made sure that the graffiti artists at Venice Beach were in the shot.
I noticed that
people can see that we have graffiti artists out here. Also, it's not just about gang tags on the wall. We have actual artists that
absolutely
have a passion for graffiti art.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So a lot of the songs on the album are self-reflective. The song "That Day," was that about the stroke that you had a couple years ago?
Yeah. So 2017, I had a stroke, and that was the song about that whole experience.
Wow, man, that's heavy right there, dude. So I'm sure that was like therapeutic for you.
It was
kind of write about that. You know what I mean? And the song "One Click," was that about meeting your wife, or that was just like old school experience?
No, that was about my wife. I did meet her on an online site, and
mm-hmm.
funny, it makes me laugh every time I tell the story, because when she hit me up on the website, I was in the process of disconnecting and canceling out that site altogether because I had so many bad experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But I was the type of dude was like, okay, I'm not going to not reply if you send me a message. I'm just not built like that. So I replied. I told her I was about to cancel by counsel. If you want to get to know me, here's my number. Call me if you like, whatever. And then we kind of started texting each other and whatever. And then,
cool.
Went from there. But their relationship, like I said in the song, I met her in January. We met in January. We got married in June.
Man, that's fast one. Hey, if you got the right one, you know what I mean, and the connection is strong.
Yeah, we've been married. It'll be 7 years in June.
Yeah, and I'm assuming she's a hip hop head too, just like yourself.
Dude, it's like our catalog. Well, okay, so when you're in a relationship, getting a relationship with somebody, you kind of take your stuff and their stuff. And when I tell you we have 2 of every movie and we have 2 of every CD that both of us own.
Oh wow, that's a connection right there for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Definitely. That is
And then
awesome.
I had the pleasure and was able to be blessed by my parents to get my older brother's record collection from when he was DJing. And my wife is like the soulmate of Michael Jackson. That's her, you know, to this day. That's her guy. So my brother
Gotcha.
actually had the original vinyl from the year it came out of Off the Wall.
Oh,
So I
nice.
gave that to her for our anniversary a couple years ago.
That is
But
awesome, man.
yeah,
So in this age of social media, I feel that there's too much like consideration on like perception, like how many follows you have, how many likes you have. How do you navigate through that as an artist? Like, because to me, it feels like uh, people only care about like how many follows do you have? You know what I mean? They don't care about the talent. They don't care about the lyricism. They don't care about the actual hard work that goes into building a project. What is your take on social media, and how does that affect your career right now? 2020.
well, I use social media for what it's for, to be social. So I've actually made a lot of connections through social media, and I don't have a lot of followers.
Hmm.
It's just the main thing that I tell people when they get into it, and I've had this question asked before, is make sure your stuff is public and make sure you share it. And my daughter, my 17-year-old daughter, actually told me that a lot of the algorithms are based on your hashtag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know
a lot
that.
is based on your hashtag. So,
Hmm.
but I've been fortunate to meet a lot of people by just putting my stuff on social media, sharing my music, sharing links to my music, and I've gotten better in the past.
Are you on
Since COVID,
SoundCloud? Are you on SoundCloud also?
I just reinstalled my SoundCloud. I was on SoundCloud before. I was dealing with was in a business relationship with another artist, and after that fell off, it was kind of just pushed to the wayside. But I realized how important SoundCloud is when I uploaded one of the songs from OMG on SoundCloud and got a major response from it.
Right.
So, I
Yeah.
started with the one song. So I'm like, okay, SoundCloud is what it was when I first started messing with it. So,
Are you on Reverb Nation also? Do you remember Reverb
mm,
Nation, that artist platform?
I
It was.
remember it, but no, I'm not.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, my,
Yeah.
my main, my music is on most of the streaming platforms. I should
Hmm.
say all of them because that's how we have it. Um, but my main marketing is my website for one, which is MrDoja.com, Facebook, Instagram. I have a TikTok. I don't have any. I think I've
Hmm.
uploaded a few snippets from some videos on there that it does what it does, but that's not. As an artist, I don't feel unless you're already an established artist, TikTok is not really gonna make or break
Hmm.
your
Right.
popularity or whatnot unless you do something that people can relate to and something crazy or funny. I put a story up about having an interaction with a police officer with our cell phones, and it was a funny story, and it got like 57,000 views.
Oh
You
wow.
know, but then I put up my music stuff and I get 130 views, 200
Yeah,
views. So I'm
that's
like,
that's what I'm talking about. You
it
know what I
is what it
mean?
is. It is what it
Yeah.
is. Like I
Exactly.
have Snapchat and I use that to watch the shows on Snapchat. I don't even post anything on
Okay.
so it's like I know that's not for me, but Instagram I'm heavy on. Um, Facebook, my Instagram is tied to my Facebook, so whatever you see on Instagram, you're going to see on Facebook. Twitter, I've really gotten heavy into over the past 6 months because I've met a whole lot of people through Twitter
Hmm.
and Instagram. That's actually has a lot of the stuff that's coming up in my career moving forward coming up. So
That's good. That's good. So I noticed that it's mostly you, Ramen, on the album throughout. There's an artist, Rashad East on
yeah,
the album, correct?
yes,
So
yes.
did you purposely just want to do the whole thing yourself? You didn't want to have like other rappers, MCs on there, or just
Well,
showcase since it's your first album.
yeah, before my album came out, I'm actually featured on And Rashad Ease is the label head for the label I'm on, Easley Branch. Is
Oh,
the label
okay.
that I'm with. So he's the label head.
Mm-hmm.
They put out Easy Branch put out an album called Great Minds Alliance. It's the name of the collective, but it's called the Dean's List. Last year also, that came out before my album came out.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a song, All the Smoke, on there, and I'm featured on a song called The Blacklist. Was like my coming out kind of. I'm the only artist on the West Coast on the label. Everybody else is on the East Coast. The label is
Oh,
based
okay.
in North Carolina.
Oh, all right.
So
All right.
yeah, so I'm the only artist out here. So it was the opportunity presented itself. It was conversation. I've known Rashad my whole life. We were having a conversation, and his album, has an album called Professor Prismatic that had just dropped in 2019 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about that, and I was like, the album is dope. This and the other way, So in the midst of that conversation, I was there. Yeah, I wrote a rap similar to that, or whatever. He was like, "You rap?" I was like, yeah. We never had the conversation, and he's been doing it for 13 years now, like professionally. And he was like, why you never say anything? And me personally, I was like, I didn't want to ride anyone's coattail. If I do it, I want to do it on my own terms.
I hear you. Yeah.
So he was like, if you wouldn't mind me helping you get out or whatever, this and that's kind of how that ball got rolling. So
So you said he's originally from North Carolina. Is that where he is
he's
now?
originally from Alabama, but
Oh, okay.
he was a college professor at North Carolina State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So some other people on the label, and he mentions it on the album also, that everybody met at NC State. Most of the people on the album are from North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, because
So
I know like Ninth Wonder and Little Brother, from that North Carolina, Chapel Hill area. Yeah.
He's it's based in Raleigh. The label's based in Raleigh.
Oh, okay. All right. That's awesome. Yeah. So during COVID, have you been inspired to write or create more during like this whole
Well,
like quarantine time? Or do you feel like it wasn't a time for you to be motivated to write?
it motivated me more than I thought it would, because when you're stuck in one place, even when you're with people that you love and care about, your mind gets to wander.
Mm-hmm.
And you start thinking about, I found a whole lot about my childhood during COVID in conversations with family members. I
Mm-hmm.
found a whole lot about myself and just spending time with myself, and realized that I had a lot of pent up frustration and anger and resentment towards people and a lot of things that was going on in my life. And I didn't know how to get it off my chest. So my wife's suggestions was, write it down.
Mm-hmm.
Just write it down. You don't ever have to look at it again or whatever, just write it down. But me being the person I am, everything I wrote down turned into a rap.
Mm-hmm.
So, that turned into like the single that I just dropped. Well, it drops on the 25th, but the video I just released, Stressing, that's what that was.
Yeah,
That
I
was
like that. I like that song a lot. I like the production on that song. Who did the production work on that?
that was
Stressing.
actually Tia Soundoff.
Oh, okay.
She's out of North Carolina, also a female producer.
Mm-hmm.
Tia Soundoff. She produced that, and my next single, Dropping, she produced that one also. But she's an amazing producer. And then shout out to Joe T. He produced my first album, the OMG album.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So are you kind of like doing just one-offs right now? Maybe put an EP together or something like that?
That's what the Stressing song is on an EP. Doc East has a single called Don't Settle. And that and Stressing are coming out on an EP together on the 25th.
Mm-hmm. Cool. I like the fact that you own your age and don't consider it a negative impact or on exposure as an artist. Do you feel like there's too much talk about that? That people say, hey, if you're over 30, give up on your dream as a MC, or do you feel there's an audience for people from our generation for new hip hop, and then if the younger people want to listen, they can?
That's where I am.
Because that term old head, I didn't even hear that term until like recently, the past a few years, where the newer rappers were kind of saying that, you know what I mean? But
well, that's actually a term that I've heard and used as a kid.
Oh, okay.
So that I've heard old head. That's what we used to call the older cats in our neighborhood growing up, was old heads.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Well, now
From
we
being
don't.
being
Now we
old
the old
school.
heads. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If at the beginning of my album, Rashad is introducing me, talking about me, and that was one of the conversations we had. I was skeptical when he offered me the opportunity to put out music. I was skeptical because of my age.
Hmm.
But in our conversations, the thing that kind of sparked that I'm gonna do it anyway is Rod Stewart's um, Queen, Elton John.
Right. Right.
They're still performing. They're still making albums.
Yes, they
You
are.
know.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if rock can do it, R&B can do it, why can't hip hop do it?
Right. Right. And
You
that
know.
should become more of a norm because, rock artists, they don't get, the older they get, the more they get praised. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Look at Ozzy Osbourne, you know what I mean? They
So
do it until they die. So,
yeah. So
yeah.
my thing is, and as and I actually was debating back and forth about dyeing my beard, and I had a friend of mine, JJ Cicero, who I met in just in the past couple of years doing music, and
Hmm.
she was like, "Dye for what? You're that's not gonna change your age. You are who you are. Own it.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
Hey, then that's I just and then she's a lot younger than me, so it's just
Hmm.
like to hear that come from somebody who actually is, because she's based in Atlanta right now. So somebody who's actually making moves and actually making a name for themselves, and that's actually what some would consider kind of big time in the
Hmm.
underground world, especially. That was kind of like, it is what it is. I can't hide the fact. If I shave all my hair off my face, I'm still in my 40s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Me
It's not
too,
going
bro.
to change anything.
Yeah.
But a lot of the artists that I've been and producers who've been reaching out to me to do music have all been in their 20s, early 30s.
There you go. There you
And
go.
ironically, looking at my um the demographic of the people that actually are currently still listening to my music is people 35 and up, which is fine with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have
Yeah.
problems with that. I'm not in hip hop to be a multimillionaire. If it comes, it comes. But at the same time, I'm here to put my stamp on the culture. I'm here to help the culture out, to put something other than what we have out at this
Right.
time.
Right.
So
And it's a passion, and that's all that
exactly.
really matters is your passion. I like the fact that your rhymes are legible and easy to decipher. Do you prefer the storytelling style of rap, like kind of reminiscent to a Scarface?
Yeah,
Would you say that or not? Do you feel like it's a storytelling style?
to be honest with you, it's not intentional a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the times. That day was intentional. The song "Give Me Room" is a story, but it's paying homage to House Party is the
Mm-hmm.
purpose of that song. But just like with stressing, it's a story in parts of the song, but it wasn't meant to be. That wasn't the intention of it. It just turned out that way. So I do have, I'll come up with a concept. I find a beat that makes me feel um, what the concept should be about or whatnot, and then it pretty much is, the universe takes over, and then we get what we get.
Mm-hmm. So what is your opinion on like the state of hip hop today? Any new artists that you like that have come out within the past 5 to 10 years?
Um, I really enjoy Earth Gang.
Well, who's Earth Gang?
It's a group out of Atlanta, I believe. Jid is the one of the artists that I really listen to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I have
It's
to
a
check
guy
that
named.
out then.
Say that again.
I just have to check that out, the Earth Gang.
Yeah, Earth Gang. They're really really dope. Of course, Kendrick, D Smoke out of Inglewood. That guy's amazing. Toby Nwigwe out of Houston. Um,
Oh yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
you know, um, Actually, it's a young man off the Easley branch named B. He just dropped his album late last year, called Before COVID 2020. It's BC 2020 is the title of the album. So it's Before COVID 2020. And that album is just, I heard him rap in the past on other stuff, but to have him embody everything that, like, he pretty much just put himself on that album, and it's fire. It's
Oh,
fire.
okay.
A lot of the artists I listen to have been out for a minute. JP the Hustler, Rashad, of course, Rashad Ease. I got to give my boy props. He's dropped some singles over the past year, and you know, his albums he released are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
That's cool. You named a few. That's awesome.
It's a, you know, it's not that many. Most of the people I listen to are
It's old
from
school.
my generation. You know,
Right.
I was just listening to Slick Rick's first album the other day, so you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Busta Rhymes' new album is fire.
Yes, it is, man.
Oh my god, that album is fire. So
it is, man, and it's, you know, that guy. I've been listening to Buster for a long time, man. Even like back with the, you know, when the disaster strikes and the you know, all that earlier stuff, you know, from the '90s, dude. You know.
But see, and that's another thing that got me too. Busta Rhymes is older than me.
He's a little older, you know.
But my thing is, it's no new rapper out right now, I feel, that can hold a candle to Busta.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
If Busta could put out an album in 2020 and do what it does, you feel me? That you know,
right.
It's,
yeah, he's no one's keeping up with that. You know what I mean? He's on another level and always will be, for sure. So do you have any words of wisdom for any up and coming hip hop artists, or someone out there that maybe got sidetracked and with their music, and you know, because sometimes it's hard, you know, it's hard to stay motivated to put out music, and as a new artist, you know, you can get a lot of like distracting elements. So any words of wisdom for those artists, whether it be hip hop artists or singers or whoever?
Be mindful of who you give your attention to. Be mindful of who you look to for inspiration and encouragement, because the people in your circle can make or break you giving 110%.
Mm-hmm.
A closed door is just room for another opportunity.
That's right.
And my main thing is just do it. Just do it.
Exactly. Just do it.
Because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if this is your passion, is somebody's going to listen to it and be like, oh, okay, I'm digging that. That one person, then you're successful.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm doing this thing called Top Four with like my musician friends. And I think when we used to work together, we talked about our favorite MCs overall, and we've had that conversation. So top four West Coast MCs for you.
That would be Ice-T, Ice Cube, King T, and I'll say D Smoke. And I'm putting him in there because I'm so impressed with the way that young brother is just, he's amazing.
I have to check him out. So from the East Coast, top four overall.
Top four on the East Coast would be KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, and MC Light.
Oh wow. And production, like producers, top four producers for you.
Dre, of course. Timbaland. Wow. That is a great question. Pharrell Williams.
Oh, okay.
And DJ Mustard.
Yeah, I was just watching a documentary on Nerd and Pharrell, and those guys are so freaking talented, dude. I just don't think they really get the, you know, credit they deserve in the industry. I mean, of course, Pharrell gets his accolades, but you know, Nerd, they're really, really talented. So, are you familiar with MF Doom at all?
Yes, sir. Rest in peace. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So he wore the mask, right? And the reason why he did that is that people could be forced to pay attention to his rhyme skills instead of paying attention to what he looked like and
Mhm.
the clothes he had on or chains or all that superficial attraction. Do you think most fans are guilty of this, unfortunately, like of paying attention to everything else except for the actual skills an MC has?
Yes.
Because in his case, he was a phenomenal MC, but still his career was really relatively on the underground tip. And I feel like he got more notoriety after he passed away, a little bit more. But do you feel like people are guilty of that, of just of going off what you look like
I do.
as opposed to what they should be paying attention to, which is the music and the lyrics?
I do. And I mentioned that in my song Hot Fire, is that you're more likely to get a successful record career or music career if you've been shot, if you have a face or body full of tattoos,
Mm,
um, if you only talk about sex and drugs. And my thing is that's the essence of hard rock, if you think about it.
hey. Well,
But
especially if you go back to the hair band era, which was the 80s,
exactly,
that's all it was, Poison,
exactly,
Motley Crue, you know,
exactly.
they had that,
But
you know.
my thing is, because to be honest with you, the last time I considered coming out before I got with the Easily Branch, my idea was to be an artist like the Gorillas. So it'd
Wow.
just be art like videos would just be like a cartoon.
Hmm.
Um, you'll never know or see my face. You'll only hear my voice. And the reason for that is because I want you to pay attention to the music, not pay attention to me.
That's a great idea, man. So maybe you could do like a concept album later on or
Oh,
piece
it's something similar to that in the works.
with the animation,
Yeah,
attached, 'Cause
that's still one of my goals. That's why I'm currently in school at LA Film School, so I'm having conversations with some of the guys in the animation department. So
yeah,
that's one of my goals is to have a full video that's just straight animated. I would love to do that.
that would be really, really cool project. Oh, you're going to LA Film School?
Yes, sir.
That is great, man. Yeah, I was trying to go to the LA Recording School, which is right up the street. I think it's on Hollywood or on Sunset, but it was so expensive, dude. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's expensive, but
good luck with that, man. I hope that works out for you.
yeah. Thank you, man. It's
Uh,
just that all the stuff I want to learn about the industry. Um, it would take me longer and go through a lot of trust from other people in order to get the information that I need, where I can just get it this way. So
right? Yeah.
it's just it's one thing in this industry. It's not a lot of people don't want you to know what they know because they don't want you to do better than they're doing.
Exactly. And
So
passing on the information is something that they don't want to do, So you got to go get the information yourself and
exactly. But then
capitalize on that.
and that being said, what my goal is after I'm done rapping or when I start slowing up on it is to try to find or try to help youngsters who want to be rappers, want to be producers,
Hmm.
give them the knowledge that I have so they can do it the right way instead of just doing what's popular and fun, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, what's the point in being selfish? I feel like a lot of people that are popular are really selfish, and they don't want to share, and even something as simple as doing a podcast. I mean, there's a lot of successful ones out there, but people don't want to share how they got successful, the things they
Exactly.
did, to achieve that level of success. So yeah, man, I appreciate your time,
No
and
problem.
answering the questions,
Fun, dude.
and I'll be checking out your music for sure, man. And
I
good luck to
appreciate
you. All right, man. You have a good night. All
it. You
right.
do the same, man.
All
Peace
right.
out, brother.
Bye bye.